This is Mini-Mutations at 10. I'm Austin Rich, Chief Experimental News Anchor, and our top story tonight, the generation gap. For thousands of years, parents have been older than their children, but new studies show that, quote, things don't have to be that way anymore, Dad. But what is the generation gap? Who benefits from the system? Why is it in place? Is it merely a simple way of stereotyping and categorizing people arbitrarily? Or is it the last acceptable form of ageism outside of the limits on playing Candyland? Before we get to that story, first we have this shocking report live from the Space Concert Club in what has sent ethnomusicologists reeling. The final music genre has been named and applied to a band ending a centuries-long tradition that will shape the music world forever. Bananacore, the last form of music to be named, is now the description of a band performing as, singing into, and singing songs about the lives of extreme bananas. Something that may or may not be real and a true thing. Certainly, we now live in an apocalyptic wasteland where all creative musical ground has been firmly mapped and leveled. Some theoretical musical theorists believe that, given enough time and experimental artists, we may be able to create one, maybe two more genres at best. But with the new one discovered, it is only a matter of time before there will be no new genres left at all, let alone no new art. Anyway, moving on to our top story tonight, the generation gap, which is not the name of a new podcast about the differences between Star Trek TNG and Star Trek Discovery. In an ironic twist of fate that is almost out of a Nirvana song itself, Generation X has taken power where the boomers once reigned supreme. And as millennials are infantilized by people who can't remember that there are at least 3 generations after Generation X, we are left to wonder what kind of cross-generational blame will be placed as time goes on. Perhaps a little meditation on this ludicrousness is necessary.
Differences between generations X, Y, and Z.
Coming out of college with a degree doesn't matter. No one can find work.
I Skype with my French boyfriend in Paris until like 3 in the morning. I don't even get to Starbucks until like 10, where I order my grande chai tea latte, 3 pump skim milk, light water, 2% foam, extra hot but not too hot. So if it's okay, I work maths in the morning at 10:45.
Most Gen Xers think like, so what?
Times are hard. You just gonna have to swallow your pride.
Born between the early 1980s and late 90s, millennials have been shaped by technology. It's noon. Time to start the day. After checking her emails, social feeds, and blogs in bed, the millennial springs to life and makes a quick, organic, vegan, gluten-free breakfast acai bowl.
Coming out of college with a degree doesn't matter. No one can find work.
What a bunch of nonsense.
All these classmates of mine in college were huddled around the TV, and I was like, what's going on? Like, full on Keanu Reeves, like, what's up? I'm a creative, who cares? I'm gonna be a writer.
Hardworking, skillful, and resilient. These are adjectives that have never been used to describe the millennial.
The whole idea of us being pegged as slackers, I think, came out of the fact that we couldn't get jobs.
One are you? Since you're on the internet, and assuming it's not your first time, you've probably already noticed that this space is pretty much dominated by a younger crowd.
Is any of this for real?
Snapchat, Pinterest, Instagram, Vine, Twitter. You know the big ones.
I'm surprised you didn't say Facebook.
That's for old people like my parents.
All these classmates of mine in college were huddled around the TV. And I was like, what's going on? Like, full on Keanu Reeves, like, what's up? I'm a creative, who cares? I'm gonna be a writer.
Coming out of college with a degree doesn't matter. No one can find work.
She feeds on the diet, consisting primarily of likes and instant gratification. Life appears perfect on her feed.
It's just a bunch of cheap beer. Don't buy it. Don't swallow it.
Likely heard them referred to as millennials, or is it Gen Z? And how are they different from generations X and Y? What's with all the labels anyway? And how can you make heads or tails of which one you belong to? And
I Skype with my French boyfriend in Paris until like 3 in the morning. I don't even get to Starbucks until like 10, where I order my grande chai tea latte, 3 pump skim milk, white water, 2% foam, extra hot but not too hot. So if it's okay, I work best in the morning at 10:45.
The traditional workspace is the bane of every millennial's existence.
What a bunch of nonsense.
defines your generation? Well, according to sociologist Carl Mannheim, it all comes down to generational location.
Most Gen Xers think like, so what?
Wow.
Snapchat, Pinterest, Instagram, Vine, Twitter, you know the big ones.
For Gen Xers, the new reality sees the birth of McJobs and the death of traditional careers.
I'm a creative, who cares? I'm gonna be a writer.
Coming out of college with a degree doesn't matter.
Able to cope with criticism and lapses in stimulation, the millennial can become hostile and detached.
Is any of this for real?
Answer hard. You just gonna have to swallow your pride.
Mean that all members of a generation share a similar collective experience. We'll get into what those might be for your generation.
It's just
Obviously, with our Zeitgeist in therapy currently, it may be some time before any of us can sort out, culturally, what this generation gap is all about. We'll have more on this story as it develops. Thank you. I wouldn't normally ruin a good moment like that, but I do have actual records for sale, vinyl records of stuff. They just came out. Please, if you'd like one, pick one up. If 8-inch vinyl records isn't your bag, I've got 3-inch CDs. How's that? So pick up something if you can, and please help the touring acts out more than my stuff. Please, they came a long way to play this show. And thank you so much to the space for making something like this happen. It feels like home every time I come here. They always treat us nice.